In this video, we're going to talk about one-sided limits. So previously we've seen examples like this, and we've seen it at 6. So when our x value is 6, the limit does not exist because we have these two different kind of ends that are hitting x equals 6, and we say the limit does not exist. Even though the limit does not exist, it might be helpful to still kind of understand what's happening around that value. Maybe there's more information we can have, and that's why we're going to introduce these one-sided limits. All right, so limits on just one side of the x value. So the definition and notation looks like this. So if we want to see about what's just happening on the left of our value, all right, we're going to put a little minus sign after the number. So that little minus sign means we're just looking at the left side of that number. And if we want to look at the right side, well, I just do a plus sign. And how do you remember? If you just think about your number line, negative signs are on the left, positive sides are on the right. All right, so it's not necessarily meaning negative and positive, it's just meaning left and right in this case. All right, so let's look at this thing. So it's always looks like a typo when you see something like that because you're seeing -1. That means we're looking at 1 from the left. So if I go to my x value 1, I only care about what's happening on the left of 1. So I care about this x value. So let's just kind of look at this region just to the left of 1. And we're focused on what's happening to our y values there. All right, well, just to the left of 1, I'm hitting all these y values, and you'll see they're going up to this dot, and that dot is at 6. So in this case, the left-hand limit of 1 is 6. All right, so it's going to be 6. All right, originally you would say the limit doesn't exist because of this kind of jump that happens, but that jump happens across 1. So just on one side of 1, we just have that dot, and that's at 6. What about with the plus? Well, now we're looking just on the right-hand side of 1, so we're looking at these values over here. And with those values, you can see my graph is kind of traveling up to this open circle, and that open circle is at 3. Again, because we're just looking to the right, we're kind of, if you could see my hand, you can kind of cover up the part of the graph you don't care about. I just care about the right of 1, and that'll give you your limit value. And what about the limit at just 1 itself? Well, with just 1 itself, I'm considering both sides. I'm looking at both sides, and I think about both sides at the same time. There's a 6 and a 3. Those numbers are different, so I say this does not exist. All right, we can do the same thing with tables. We also already learned how to do limits with tables. We need our x value to get close to our number and a y value to get close to a number. Again, generally, you're going to kind of in the middle of your table. And you see those numbers, our x values are getting close to 3. Now, if you're looking at this for just writing a limit, the limit's not going to exist because the middle values don't agree. But if we're doing a left and right-hand limit, or we can do the limit as x approaches 3 from the left, and we can do the limit as x approaches 3 from the right. And we just do these separately. So if we're looking at the left, we're just looking over here. We don't care about anything to the right of that red line. And what's happening to our y values, you can see they're getting closer and closer to -4. All right, so just on the left of 3, my y values are getting close to -4. On the right of 3, literally on the right of 3 in the table, all right, our y values, as they get closer to 3, kind of going to the middle, you can see our y values get closer to 9. All right, so these limits just kind of block off half the picture, only focus on one side at a time, and you can do these one-sided limits. Just remember the notation is a little strange, so the little minus and plus happen after the number. All right, here's another graph example. Again, you can pause the video and try it on your own, see if your answers agree with mine. All right, first we're looking at 6 from the left, so we go to x value 6. We only care about the left-hand side of 6. You can see on the left-hand side, our graph is going down to this open circle, and that is at 2. And on the right of 6, this because we have the little plus there, right, if we're on the right of 6, we're just looking at this stuff over here, and you can see our graph travels along, and we get to that closed circle at 5. So all our y values are getting close to that y value 5. And then I call it the full limit when you're not doing a one-sided limit. So the full limit as x approaches 6, what's happening? Well, at 6 itself, we have these two sides that don't agree, so our limit does not exist. Again, we had this kind of jump, which causes the limit not to exist. And we'll do the same thing, same graph, but now we'll look at -8 instead. So this is when sometimes you have to be really careful with your eyes deceiving you. We have the negative here and the negative here. So looking at -8 on the left. So we're just looking kind of at the left of -8. And what's happening as our graph travels along, we get closer and closer to this open circle. So our limit's going to be -6. Again, the single dot here is not going to take away from the fact of what your limit is. A single dot doesn't change a limit, but we're looking at the kind of line of the graph. -8 from the right, so I'm still at -8. Right, but now I'm just focused on the right of that number, right, this kind of red area there. And again, if I'm thinking about as my graph gets close to -8, it's going down to this open circle. And that is going to be at that open circle is at -6. And now we can look at the full limit. We've actually done this exact problem before. The full limit here, both these sides are coming down to this open circle here. All our y values are getting close to that open circle, and that's at -6. All right, so you can see all three of these answers are the same, and that's actually an important fact. All right, it tells us that if the two one-sided limits agree, if your left-hand limit and your right-hand limit, for the f of x here, and your right-hand limit are the same, then your limit's going to exist and it's going to be the same as these ones. So all three of these things would be equal if the one-sided limits are equal. If they're not equal, you get these jumps where your limit does not exist. But if they are equal, then your limit is just exactly where they meet up. All right, so a quick summary of this video. All right, for a one-sided limit, you're only looking at values just below or just above your x value. All right, you're kind of blocking off the stuff you don't care about just to the left or just to the right of your x value. The one-sided limits do not need to be the same. So you might get, one number for the left-hand limit and one number for the right-hand limit. But if the one-sided limits are the same, then the full limit exists and is going to be the same number. So we saw in that last example, all of them were -6. The two one-sided limits are the same, which forces the full limit to be the exact same number. All right, so this is how you find one-sided limits.